And the United States has unveiled a plan to slash emissions of the greenhouse gas methane from oil and gas operations as part of a strategy to crack down on climate change, drawing cautious support from both environmental groups and drillers. The announcement coincided with the UN Climate Conference in Glasgow, Scotland, where the United States, the world's second largest greenhouse gas emitter, is seeking to reclaim leadership on the world stage by demonstrating tangible steps to curb emissions back at home. Mustapha Wahab is the oil and gas analyst at Chapel Hill Denham, and he joins me live here at our Lagos headquarters studios to discuss this. Good morning. Great to have you. Let's start from home. Shell Nigeria Gas already exists, but why pivot to Shell Energy Nigeria? We saw Total and also moving to Total Energies. So it looks like there's a name change. Oh, Seplat, by the way, in case I forgot. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
It's good to see you again, by the way.
My pleasure.
I mean, you just mentioned it correctly. Seplat, Total, I mean, if you've been paying attention, you pass through wherever road in Lagos, you see that Total is now Total Energy. And this is mostly because of the fact that oil producers are now facing significant amount of, challenges raising funds. And that's because financiers are also facing ESG-induced challenges. They are not able to fund, oil producers, and this is what is, causing this sort of pivot into, different, businesses. I mean, if you remember, Qatar recently, announced that they are no longer an oil-producing country, and they are now energy, related country, and that's basically because of the fact that the country is now, projecting that by 2030, 50% of their revenues would come strictly from renewables, right? So what Shell is now saying, basically in Nigeria, is that look, we want to expand our operation to natural gas in Nigeria, right? And I mean, if you've been paying attention, really, natural gas usage is becoming, widespread. Think about transportation, think about, industrial electricity generation,
domestic,
purely gas,
LPG,
right? LPG, all gas, right? And what we're seeing now is that new entrants into gas, are no longer bounded by the rule, of the past. They are now, taking a lot more shorter contracts. Terms in the gas sector is a lot more flexible. And here is the juicy part. Gas prices, are not, in any way linked, to oil prices. So that sort of remove it from that oil price volatility. Hence the reason why you are seeing this massive amount of push into gas business.
The years and decades of petroleum is beginning to wind down.
Yeah.
Painfully so. Now, what's the prospect of renewable energy use in Nigeria? Is it a viable one?
I mean, nobody likes the sound of traditional generator. You would like to, once electricity is gone in Nigeria, you'd like to, tap into something a lot more quiet, a lot more clean. But the problem is that the startup cost is, it's ridiculously expensive, in Nigeria. Hence the reason why, FGN is also pushing an amount of money and investment into, renewable energy, such that, the startup cost will be a lot cheaper, compared to what we're seeing today. Long term, we'll probably see it a lot more viable, but presently, the viability is not as strong as your traditional, crude.
Isn't gas a capital-intensive business? How viable is this decade of gas master plan that we have on our table?
Yeah, I mean, FGN is also aware of this. They are pushing massive amount of money into gas business. NLNG Train 7, has already been commissioned as far as FID is concerned. This project is roughly what? $10 billion, right?
Bigger than the FPSO, yes.
Absolutely. $10 billion projects. I mean, beyond that, I mean, FGN also co-own Seplat projects. That's the ANOH gas project, which is roughly what? $650 million. Massive amount of money, going into investment, by FGN, just basically to tap into this, new wave of, gas business.
Yeah, but they still talk about the issue of a 12.5 kg cylinder gas selling for about 6,000 to 2,500, and it looks like it's heading to double digit.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, right. I also bought gas recently. I think I paid close to 8,000 naira for the 12.5 kg cylinder. And I mean, the challenge is basically because of the fact that, supply, is still a problem in Nigeria. I think we consume roughly 1.2 million metric tons of LPG, versus what NLNG supply, roughly 40% of that. So that just basically leaves Nigeria to export, and I mean, to import the balance of that. So it exposes us, to any shocks from the external market. Beyond that, we've also seen, series of naira devaluation. So the impact of this is basically affecting, LPG gas in Nigeria. But
tell me, in terms of LPG, which is cooking gas in Nigeria, tell me where the problem is. Downstream, upstream? where is the main problem here for this rising prices?
It's across the value chain. It's across the value chain. You know, upstream, naira devaluation, supply challenges, downstream, logistic issue, especially in taking, the product out from the, Apapa, terminal. So, I mean, it's a lot more than, just basically focus on one particular.
So you think there are structural and infrastructural challenges down there?
Absolutely, absolutely.
For us to get a 12.5 kg cylinder at what you call reasonable? A
reasonable price. I mean, it took the price to get to, double digits, it took over 4 years. From 2016 when, the MBS started tracking the number. Obviously, I mean, a lot of issues that we're hearing today is that MBS is underreporting the number. I mean, what I saw on average for Lagos State alone is roughly 4,500, versus, close to 8,000 naira that I said I bought, the 12.5 kg cylinder. I mean, it's obviously a case, for one to worry about.
Very, very interesting. Thank you so much, Wahab Mustapha, oil and gas analyst at Chapel Hill Denham. Thank you so much for coming through here.